Hi, I welcome you to my channel. Today's video is purposely about helping to address some of the questions that international students who are trying to apply to graduate schools usually ask. And I don't know if you have been in this situation before. Using myself as an example, when I started my graduate school application, okay, it wasn't easy. Trust me, it wasn't easy, especially if you don't know what to do. If you have a lot of questions in your mind, you don't know where to move from after you are done with a particular thing, and you don't know the right places to go to ask certain questions and in order to get reliable answers. And sometimes even the answers you get from people, you don't even know whether they are reliable or not. Okay. My name is Eugene. Currently, I'm a PhD student here at the University of New Mexico in the United States. I've gone through this application process and I was able to get admission successfully. And then I'm here today to share with you some of my experiences as well as some of the things that I learned, okay, going through this application process. I've been asked severally about how to go through the application process. I mean, the things you have to consider, the documents you have to use, and all that stuff. But then what I did, okay, today is to help you guys go through some few questions that people usually ask. Hopefully, some of these questions would fall into your category, and then you might get the answers that you've been looking for a very long time now. So, on my screen here, I have like 12 questions that I'm going to address. These questions are diverse because they tackle the various aspects of the application, right from getting your application done all the way to your visa process. Okay, so stay tuned, follow me, and then make sure you pay attention. Grab your notebooks and your pen, whatever you're going to use to write. If you're going to type on your phone, that would be nice. But trust me, this session is going to be very helpful because it has a lot of information that are going to be useful for you. Okay. So to start with, the first question that I have on my list here is that is the graduate school application process a difficult task? Okay, this is a question that is difficult to answer because something that might be difficult for one person might be easy or maybe moderately okay for another person. So to answer this question in a better way, I would say that it's relative. But then in general, okay, in general, the process is a bit tedious. It's tedious because we have a lot of components. There are a lot of documents that you have to work on. There are a lot of questions that you have to answer. Just a lot of processes that you have to go through. Okay, that is what makes this particular process a bit annoying sometimes. But then it doesn't have to be scary. People have gone through it, and then you can also do it if you really want to do it. If you have the dream of going to the graduate school or maybe attending graduate school, okay, the application process shouldn't be something that would have to scare you off, because of course that is the starting point. If you have the dream of traveling outside your country and maybe studying abroad, then you have to make sure you put in all the work and then get this application process done as quickly as possible. Okay, so just to answer this question, I would say that it's relative, but then generally it is a bit tedious. However, when you have a good plan, when you have a laid down strategy that you are going to use, when you are someone who asks for help, when you ask the right questions, I believe you should be able to go through this successfully. Okay, so you don't have to be scared about this. You don't have to worry. This process is good. People have gone through it, and you can also go through it if you really want to go through it. Now, let me hear about your thoughts. Whatever question you want to ask me with regards to this particular question, or any clarification that you need, you can put this in the comment section, and then I'll address it accordingly. Okay. Right. So let's move to the next question. On my list here, I have the second question. I'm going to read that. It says that how and when do I start a graduate school application? Okay. So this question is also, I would say, is personal. Okay, because knowing when and how to apply for graduate school, I'll start from the when. The when should be your personal decision. Okay, so the process of the application begins the day you decided to, or you made up your mind that no, come on, after my first degree, I'm going to go straight to graduate school and then maybe upgrade my knowledge in this particular field, in that field, in that field. So As in when you are going to start your application is a personal decision, and that depends on the point where you decided to go to graduate school. All right. But then just to advise you, if you want to go to graduate school, okay, if you have the plan to apply to graduate school, then I'll advise you to start early. Okay, because as I said earlier on, the process involves a lot of things, a lot of documents that you have to work on. You need to start early so that you can get enough time to process these documents, get people to review the documents for you, and make sure you are making the right things or getting prepared adequately for the submission. Okay, so starting early would be a good thing to do. And a lot of times most of us think that graduate school application can only be done when you graduate from school. That is not the case. You can start your application as early as possible, or even start preparing towards it as early as possible, even if you have not even opened the application portal. Okay, because there are a lot of informations out there that you can learn from and get prepared towards the journey. Okay, so you can start your application as early as level 200 if you're in level 200 currently in your first degree or in your bachelor's degree. You can start your application process. Start getting these documents down, your statement of purpose, your CV, start drafting those things, start working towards them, start thinking about the things that you are going to be need or you are going to be using for the application. And that is going to help you a lot. Okay, so yeah, as and when you have to start, there is no specific time, but then I would advise you to start as early as possible, and also make sure you check the deadline for the submission with regards to the school you want to apply to. That will also help you as to how to kind of draft your timeline and then prepare accordingly. Okay. And how are you going to apply? That is the second part of the question. How do I apply to graduate school? As I said earlier on, graduate school application starts when you make up your mind. Okay. So let's say your mind is made up and then you want to start the application process. Now, there are several ways people search for schools. Okay. Somebody can recommend a school for you. Let's say you have a relative somewhere, you have a friend somewhere who recommends that, oh, this school is good. I have this particular person here and he recommends that this school is very good and you can go. That is one way, one point. Okay. You can get that information, research about that particular school, and then focus on it. Personally, that was what I did. My school, the school that I am currently here, University of New Mexico, was recommended to me by a friend. Okay. I had a friend here in the school, and based on the experiences he has gotten or the exposure he has obtained from this school and the things he has learned, he recommended the school for me. And I realized that, oh, come on, if this guy is saying this about this school, then let me also check it out. So I checked it out and I realized it was good. The research that I needed to do, or the field that I want to go into, was something that a faculty member here is doing. So I felt like, come on, let me just grab this opportunity. That was how I started mine. You can start yours by doing your own research on the internet. There are lots of informations about schools on the internet. You can do your own research and then decide, okay, as to when, all right, when, the type of school, the kind of research, and the kind of country you want to go to. Because there are several schools in the world, several countries in the world, but every school that you want to go to, or whatever school that you want to go to, depends on you. It is your personal decision. What are the things you need in a school? What are the things that drives you towards a particular school? What are the research areas that you want to focus on? Okay, so these are some of the things that will help you to be able to select a good school, and then to be able to start your application. I mean, go through the process. If there are interviews, you go through those interview processes, and then if everything goes on successfully, you become admitted, and then we continue from there. Okay, so as and when you are going to start, it depends on you. What you are going to do to start: research, search about the school, search about schools that are doing things in your field, the field that you want to go to. I hope I answered this question well. If you have any more concerns about this particular question, you can put whatever you have in the comment section and then we'll address it. Okay. All right. So let's look at the third question. What I have here says that, how competitive is the graduate school admission process? So with this particular question, I would say it depends on the school you want to go to, all right, and the program you want to read. Okay, so there are some schools that are really competitive, as in the number of applicants to that particular school per year is really high, and the more the number of people competing for a particular position, the more that particular position become competitive. Okay, so I would say that this depends on the program you want to read and the school you want to go. So make sure you do your research well. Make sure you make a decision based on what you want. Okay, so if you want a competitive environment, make your decision accordingly. If you want a program that is less competitive or a school that is less competitive that would give you a higher chance of getting in, that is also good. But I would say that these things are perfect. It depends on you personally what you want. The fourth thing that I have here on my list, or the fourth question that I have to address here, is that do I need to send my financial document alongside my application materials? Of course, um, one thing that you have to also think about when you are going through this application process is your ability to be able to finance yourself when you are out here or when you leave your country. You are no more in your home country when you get admitted and you start schooling. You are in a different country where resources might not be readily available to you at that moment. Okay, so you need to consider the fact that you'll be able to sponsor yourself, or there is some form of scholarship or sponsorship that will be able to help you go through the program. Okay, what happens is that before schools give you admission, okay, some schools require that you add that proof, okay, of financial capability. They want to know if you'll be able to sponsor yourself, usually within the first 1 year of your school. Okay, if you'll be able to do that, then they might consider that as part of maybe the process that they use to review the document or how they do their selection. All right, but then it is a requirement. You need to be able to prove that you have the financial strength to support yourself. It might not be you as an individual. Maybe a governmental organization is sponsoring you. Maybe a different private organization is sponsoring you. Maybe you have a scholarship. Maybe you have an uncle or an auntie somewhere, your parents who are going to sponsor you in a school. Or you applied for maybe a graduate teaching assistantship where the school itself is going to sponsor you. Okay, so they need to know if you'll be able to sponsor yourself or not. So some schools require that you include your financial statement or your sponsorship letter or whatever scholarship that you have. You should have a proof that you have a means of sponsorship. Okay, so sometimes you add it to the application when you are filling the form. There is a part that you have to upload all these documents. But some schools also require that you don't submit that at the beginning. Okay, you just fill the form, and then once they give you the admission, then they would ask you to submit this document. So one way or the other, you are going to submit your financial document. The fifth question on my list here is are there scholarships or financial aid available for international students? Okay, so this is definitely a yes. Okay, of course, most schools in the United States and in I would say in Europe have scholarships and uh, um, sponsorships that they usually give to students. Okay, especially international students. So for you to be able to know the kind of financial aid that is available in your school or in the department that you really want to apply to, you need to do your research. You need to go to the school's website and ask or search for these things. Or even if you cannot, then you need to find the graduate coordinator's email address and then email him or her about these questions. Ask what are the financial aid opportunities that are available in the department or in the school that you want to apply to, and know the options that you have. Okay, there are several forms that these schools sponsor international students. They can sponsor you through what we call scholarship, and these scholarships are usually based on academic performance. They are merit-based scholarships, so they give you the scholarship based on your academic achievement. There are sponsorships in the form of graduate teaching assistantship and then research assistantship, and these are given to you based on your work, which means that you are going to be working here as a teaching assistant on campus or a research assistant on campus, where they are going to pay you an amount that is enough for you to be able to use for your living expenses as well as take care of your tuition. Okay, so yes, there are sponsorship and scholarship opportunities available in these schools, but before you apply to the school or even think about applying to a particular school, make sure you do this research, ask these questions in order to be able to know the options that you have with regards to finances and sponsorship. Okay, that is very important. The next thing I also have here is that um, do I have to consider the culture when selecting a school? Okay, the culture of the people, the culture that that school is built on? What are the way of life of these people? That is very important. You are going to leave your country. You are going to live in a country where you know almost no one. Okay, you are trying to build a new environment for yourself, and in this environment you need to try to adjust. You need to live, especially when you are someone who is coming for uh, masters or PhD programs. Your happiness, your comfort is very important towards the success of your program or your academic journey. Okay, so you need to consider how these people live, the country you want to go to or the school you want to go to. How are these people? How do they live? What are the culture of these people? How do these people live? What are the things they do? Their way of dressing, the food they eat, the kind of food they eat, the things that, of course, the way people live in a particular environment will determine how you interact with them. So if you cannot tell me that you would go to school and you will not interact with anybody or maybe have a relationship with any of the natives of that nation or country. It means that going to a particular school, you need to know that the country I am going to, I'm going to live with these people, and you need to consider the way they live and ask yourself if that is good for you to be able to also what cope with. Will you be able to cope with these people? Will you be able to live with them? Will you be able to adapt to their way of life? Okay, that is one thing you also have to consider. And another important thing is you need to know the kinds of food that are available for you. So let me use myself as an example. I'm from Ghana, and when I came here to the United States, specifically in Albuquerque here in New Mexico State, the first day I came around, the kind of food stuff that were available for me were not things I was used to. Okay. So in order to be able to eat, I couldn't. And I just have to rely on this sweet biscuits, bread, and this normal drinks that people usually take whenever they go. Of course, these drinks are easily accessible and you can get it anywhere. Okay. Those were the things I was depending on because I find it difficult to be able to eat their local food. All right. So that is why it is very important for you to know the kind of foods that are available in whatever city you are going into for your education. Okay, you also need to consider the restaurants. Check and see if there are some restaurants or international restaurants that you can get your home food from. Okay, these are very important because you need to adjust to the system and it will take time. Within those few moments, within those few days that you report on campus, how are you going to cope? How are you going to relate? How are you going to stay on campus to avoid problems, to avoid bad feelings, and to be able to focus on your academics? That is why it is really, really important for you to be able to know more about the culture of the people before you apply to a particular school. And all this can be known by doing research. You need to find out about the school, find out about the city in which the school is, know the restaurants that are available for you, know the options that are available in terms of food and other dietary supplements or things that you're going to need for your survival. Okay, these are very important. Talking about the next thing on my list, what type of visa do I need as an international student? Okay, this is also very important. As an international student, trying to go to graduate school, okay, the basic kind of visa that we usually use is the F1 visa. If you are coming for an academic program or a language related program, then the type of visa that you need to be applying for is the F1 visa. Okay, but there are other types of visa like the M1 visa and then the J1 visa. For the M1 visa, it is for vocational and then non-academic programs. All right, and then the J1 visa, that is usually for exchange programs or maybe programs that are sponsored by a government. So basically, I would say that the kind of visa that you have to apply for as an international student trying to pursue a graduate education is either F1 visa or J1, depending on the kind of program you are on. If you're on an exchange program, then you need to go for a J1 visa. If you are coming specifically for academic programs or language related programs, then you have to go for F1, which is the most common one that we use. Okay, so take note of that. And another question here is, how is the visa application done? All right. I'm going to make a whole video purposely talking about how you can go through the visa application process successfully. Watch out for that video. It's going to come out after some few days. Okay, so watch out for that video. But just to give you a heads up on how to navigate through the visa application process. So you can only start your visa application process when you have a document that we call an I-20 from your school. Okay, you only get an I-20 for the an I-20 from the school that you are applying to after you have gotten admission. If the school gives you an admission and you have proven that you have the financial capability, or you have gotten a sponsorship from the school. Okay, so you need an I-20 from the school, which is one thing, after the school has given you an admission, because you need that I-20 to be able to go through the visa application process successfully. You need a passport, which you need to work on. If you don't have a passport by now and you are dreaming of uh, studying abroad, then you need to work on that and make sure you get your passport ready, because that is also very important. It is very, very important in the visa application process. Of course, you cannot travel without a passport, so you take note of that. Okay. Now, for the visa application process, once you've gotten admission, okay, and then your school has sent you your I-20, the first thing you have to do is to be able to look for the form that we call DS-160 form. This is this DS-160 form I'm talking about is an online non-immigrant visa application form that we usually fill. That is the starting point of your visa application. And this form is meant to collect your personal information, your personal credentials, all right, your academic informations, your current work status, your traveling plans, and all that stuff. Okay, so it's basically just filling a form online. But in that form, you're going to need your passport to complete certain parts. You're going to need your I-20, which has some details that we call the service ID or service number and other informations on the I-20. You're going to need a passport size picture, a very clear one, of course, for your application. So once you are done filling that form, the next thing you are going to do is to book an appointment, an interview appointment. Okay, so you need to book an appointment with the whatever country you are going to. If you are coming to the United States, you need to book an appointment with the American embassy in your country, where you go for your visa interview. And then after the interview, once it goes through successfully, they'll grant your visa, and then you'll be ready to travel as an international student. Okay, so basically it's all about filling your DS-160 form, booking an appointment for your interview, preparing for your interview, going through the interview successfully, and then maybe getting your visa or something. Okay, so basically that's how the process is. But then watch out for my video. I'm going to go into detail how to fill this form, how this form is actually done, how to prepare for your interview, and all that. I'm going to release a video on this, so watch out for that. The next thing I have on my list here is what if my visa is denied? Okay, so what if, let's say you've gone through the application process, you've gotten admission, you did everything right, and finally when you get to the visa interview, you you don't know, but unfortunately your visa got denied. What do you do as a student or as someone who is ready to go to school? So with a visa denial, there is nothing you can do at that moment. The best thing you can do for yourself is to just calm down, okay, and restart the process again. That is a bitter truth. With regards to the visa, if you get denied, you have to apply again and go through the process. All right. But while you do that, I will advise you to contact your school. Of course, by then your school would have given you admission already, and they will be expecting you. Okay. So what you have to do is you contact your school and ask them about the options available for you. Would you be able to defer your program for some number of months? How long would that take? So that you know the timeline in which you are working, and then you'll be able to reapply for the visa, and then maybe go through the process as quickly as possible and get your visa and report on campus. Okay, basically the best thing to do is make sure you contact your school, ask them about the options that you have with regards to this denial, and how you can defer your program and how long that is going to take. All right, so that you know how you're going to navigate through this process. Yeah, I have another thing here, which is, can I take my family along with me as an international student? Of course, you can take your family along with you. Just that you cannot take them on that same visa. They would also have to apply for another kind of visa, which you call the F2 visa. If you're on a J1 visa, then they will have to apply for a J2 visa. If you're on M1 visa, then they'll have to apply for an M2 visa. Okay, but basically for academic purposes we use F1 visa. So your spouse and then your unmarried children, your children that have not gotten married yet, that are usually under the age of 21 years, okay, they can apply for an F2 visa, and then once they go through the process and they are granted, they will be able to travel with you. All right, so yes, it's possible to take your family along. All right, so that is possible. Take note of that as well. I have another thing here. How do I get accommodation? So with regards to accommodation, it is also dependent on you. Okay, if you want to live on campus, okay, as maybe accommodation provided by the school, then you'd have to be in contact with the school, and then maybe sometimes you'll be required to make some payments while you are still in your home country, so that they'll be able to secure whatever room or accommodation they have for you over here. Okay, but if you are someone who wants to be independent, who wants to live off campus, then that you'd have to make sure you come along with money. So you need to do your own research and find out the prices of the accommodations or the apartments that are available in whatever country you are going to, so that once you get there, you'll be able to get a room for yourself. Okay, an advice I'll give to you is that it is not easy finding rooms in a country that you know virtually nobody. Okay, so when you are coming, make sure you prepare financially, because when you come, it will be difficult for you to be able to get the best deals. Okay, and of course you need a place to lay your head, so you would have to make sure you get a room. There are several options. Think about this. If you have colleagues or friends or anybody that you know around in the same school that you are applying to, you can contact the person and maybe let the person do the search for you. Maybe the person would look for rooms down for you, which is not always guaranteed, but it's a starting point, so that at least you know your options. Or even you can even ask the person to grant you accommodation for some few days or weeks whilst you look for your own room or apartment. Okay, so that is why it's advisable that wherever you are going to attend your school, okay, whichever school you are going to, try and see if there are people there that are from your country that you know, so that you're able to connect with them and then make them or let them help you with this kind of stuff. All right, especially with accommodation, because when you come to a new country where you know almost no one, it will be difficult for you to be able to find a place to rest your head. Okay, so that is also very important. But regardless of that, if you still don't have anybody in the country or in the school that you are going to, you can contact the school itself. There are people, international office. Every school, I'm sure every school has an international office where they liaise or communicate with international students. And even before you come to campus, the school is going to organize orientations and all that stuff for you, so you'll be able to have an idea of where you're going to stay in a situation where you don't know, or you don't have anybody in the country where you are going to. Okay, so getting accommodation is quite tough for the first few weeks or days as a new person or as an international student. That I can tell you. But doing the right things, asking the right questions, making sure that you have everything in place before you hop onto your flight, that would help you a lot. Okay, so make sure you do that homework very well before you decide to travel on whatever date you are going to travel. All right, so just to cut everything short, for accommodation, make sure you contact the school. Schools usually have accommodations, they have plans, so you contact them. If there are rooms, you make payment or whatever agreement you guys have, you'll be able to sign those agreements and make sure that your accommodation is secured. If not, if you are someone who wants to live off campus, then you really need to make sure you have someone or somebody who'll be able to do these homeworks for you whilst you travel. If not, you would come to the country and you become stranded. Unless, of course, you book hotels, and maybe yeah, hotels will do. You'll be able to get hotels where you'll be able to rest your head for some few days. But trust me, that is really going to be expensive. Okay, imagine you are chucking in a hotel for like a week or maybe 3 4 days, where you have to pay consistently every day for all these bills. All right, so it's all about what you want. Okay, think about it. Make sure all these decisions are taken care of before you hop on your flight. Okay, the purpose of this video is actually to just uh, give you an idea of the direction in which you can move when you are trying to find answers to these particular questions. Okay, and most of the times you can find details of these things on the school's website, or maybe contacting the right people in the department or in the school that you want to apply to. All right. Yeah, and the last thing that I have on my list here that I'm going to talk about is, what about transportation on campus? How do you transport yourself in a situation where your school is far away from your apartment? Let me put it that way. So let's say your apartment is like 30 minutes drive from campus, 20 minutes drive from campus, 15 minutes drive from campus. How do you get to campus in time when you have classes, when you have things that you have to tackle? Okay, so most of the countries, the one that I'm familiar with, especially here in the United States, you can use public transport. You have buses available that you can use as a new student who really doesn't have any means of transport. So you can use public transport. That is one option that you have. Or you can get a bicycle for yourself. All right. That is what I'm using currently. Yeah. I have a bicycle that I use to and fro from my apartment to campus. Yeah, so you can get a bicycle for yourself, and you would use that to be able to navigate yourself to and fro. All right. And those of you who know how to drive, those of you who have driving license and all that stuff, you can get a car, but then that wouldn't be an option for somebody who just arrived as a graduate student. Yeah, it's going to take some time for you to get a driver's license in the state or whatever country you are in, and it's going to be difficult, or it's going to take some time for you to be able to get a car. Maybe some few days if you are financially capable of doing that. Okay, so these are the options you have as an international student coming to a new country. Within those few days, how can you navigate your way through campus? You can use a public transport, as I said earlier on. You can get a bicycle, which is more cheaper than buying a car instantly, to be able to move to and fro. And if you have the money within those few days, of course you can get a car. Just that you need to make sure you know your options. What are the options that I have with regards to my country? Am I qualified to drive in a particular country with the current driver's license that I have, or do I have to apply for a new driver's license with regards to whatever country you are in? Okay, it depends on the the laws of that state or that country in which you are in. And I advise you to do your research very well before you make your decision as to whether you're going to buy a car, or you are going to use public transport or a bicycle. Some of us would even want to walk. Of course, that is your choice. If you think you can walk to and fro, that is also good. But then basically, these are just the options that are available that um, I decided to let you know, so that you can prepare towards that accordingly. Okay. So, all right. Thank you for watching this video. If you think this video was helpful to you, kindly subscribe to my channel so that you can have access to whatever subsequent videos I'm going to release. Also, if you have any comments or questions that you want to ask me, you can put them in the comment section, and make sure you also like and share this video for others to also have access to this information. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you. Bye bye.